When you see these bright headlights, I bet it makes you feel some type of way. You might notice a flood of emotions running through you: anger, frustration, sadness, or maybe even confusion. And that's completely understandable. Over time, as a target, you've been sensitized to these tactics. They've trained your mind to react to certain cues, like headlights, so that every time you see them, it stirs something inside of you. And that emotional reaction is exactly what they're after, because it means their conditioning is working. This tactic is often used in organized harassment to sensitize a target, meaning to make someone hyper aware or reactive to a specific trigger. In this case, it usually involves cars flashing their headlights or keeping their brights on to get your attention, to make you feel uncomfortable, or to make you feel like you're always being watched. Now, for those that don't know, this is called brightening. It's basically the use of light, whether it's headlights, flashlights, floodlights, or even reflections. It's used to mess with someone psychologically. It's part of a bigger pattern of organized harassment that's meant to wear you down over time. This might sound simple on the surface, but when it's done in a coordinated, repetitive way, it can completely change the way someone sees the world around them. The goal of all this isn't just to shine light, it's to make you notice it and connect it to yourself. They want to make you feel like you're the reason it's happening. It's a psychological mind game. So, the main purpose of brightening is to sensitize you. Sensitization means they're trying to make you extra aware of a certain stimulus. In this case, it's light. And if they repeat it often enough, even a normal light will eventually grab your attention. These next video clips I'm about to show you were sent to me by a friend who's also a targeted individual living in Beverly Hills, California. Like many others experiencing organized harassment, they have been documenting repetitive events happening around them. What you are about to see is just a small glimpse into what many targets go through on a daily basis. Coordinated behavior and tactics designed to make someone feel watched, isolated, and constantly on edge. Notice the number of cars driving through this quiet residential neighborhood. At first glance, most people would assume this kind of traffic is normal. But if you've experienced organized harassment, you know the patterns. These aren't just random drivers passing by. These drivers are part of coordinated patrols that follow and monitor targets. Usually, these groups move in packs of 10 to 15 vehicles, cycling through the same streets over and over again. One of the biggest giveaways is their use of strobe flashing lights. This is a classic tactic used to signal their presence and to further sensitize the target. It's a psychological trigger meant to create anxiety or make the person feel constantly watched. Some people like to dismiss this as just the camera lens effect or glare, but then again, these people might not be real targets. But those who have been a target long enough have seen this in real life and know the difference. Another thing I wanted to point out is this Waymo car you're seeing here. For those who aren't familiar, Waymo vehicles are autonomous self-driving cars used for rideshare, kind of like Uber or Lyft, with no human driver behind the wheel. When I visited my friend in Beverly Hills to see firsthand the kind of harassment they were experiencing, we decided to drive around the neighborhood for a while. What stood out to both of us was how often we saw these Waymo cars near us. No matter where we went, there always seemed to be one close behind us or parked near us on the same street. At first, we thought it was just a coincidence, so we just kind of brushed it off. We didn't want to sound any more crazy than we already do talking about gangstalking. So could they be using these self-driving cars as part of the harassment network? It's definitely possible. What makes it suspicious is the timing and behavior. They always seem to appear in the right place at the right time. In this video clip, you can clearly see it with its flashing strobe lights on, just like the other vehicles we've documented. Again, we can't make absolute claims, but when you've seen these patterns repeat over and over, it's hard not to question what's really going on behind the scenes. Anyway, I'll let you decide for yourself whether the Waymo cars are stalking us or not. Now, there's another version of all this, and it's called the one headlight tactic. It's when you start noticing cars driving around with just one headlight on, usually the same side missing again and again. Now, to the average person, it just looks like a broken light, but to someone being targeted, it's coordinated, especially when it happens consistently in specific moments. The idea behind the one headlight tactic is symbolism. It's meant to send a message that it's them and that you're always being watched. They want you to notice it and attach meaning to it. Even though it's subtle, it works. You start spotting it everywhere, in traffic, parking lots, highways, and once your brain makes that connection, you've been successfully sensitized to it. When you take a step back and look at the bigger picture, you can see what these tactics are really about. It's not just about lights, it's about control. Control over how you think, how you feel, and how you react. They want to own your attention. If they can get you to focus on every flash of light, they've already succeeded. Because now your mind is occupied, you're distracted, you're stuck in a loop of observation and reaction. They don't even need to be there 24/7 anymore. Once you're trained to react, you carry the program with you. One of the most damaging effects of these tactics is self-doubt. You start questioning yourself and you think maybe you're just imagining it. But that's part of the design, because once they get you to doubt your perception, they've gained control over your reality. And that's where many targets get stuck, constantly second guessing what's real and what's manipulation. And that confusion drains your energy, your focus, and your peace of mind. Being aware of your surroundings and knowing what's happening around you helps you recognize these tactics for what they are, manipulation. And once you understand it, you can start breaking the link between the light and your emotional response. Don't allow these tactics to steal your focus. Acknowledge them and calmly move on. Every time you refuse to react, you're retraining your brain to stop giving them power. Resilience takes practice, but you can desensitize yourself. Start focusing your energy elsewhere, on peace, on faith, on your purpose, and remind yourself that light itself is not evil. It's just being used by people with dark intentions. These tactics will seem small to outsiders, but for people who are living through it, it's one of the most persistent forms of psychological warfare. It's subtle, it's deniable, and it's powerful, but it's not unbeatable. When you can clearly understand these methods and you see that it's all about provoking you, you start to see the faults in their system and you realize they rely on your attention more than you rely on theirs. Take control of your mind and you'll take control over your peace. When you stay calm and refuse to react, you're no longer letting negativity or outside forces dictate your emotions. Every time you choose peace over reaction, you reclaim your power, one moment, one incident, and one thought at a time.